Welcome back to my channel. We are back on a lake again, doing some more Stillwater fishing. Keen viewers are going to notice that this is the same lake I was in the last video. Same Southern Oregon Stillwater, still going after tigers, browns, and rainbows. This video is in the same spot because my buddy saw a picture, this new friend that I went with, my friend Gabe, saw pictures from the last trip and thought, well, I want a shot at that. So we were going to go somewhere else, and we ended up taking a detour and going here instead. We try to create lightning in a bottle. As you can see, we are drifting and pulling flies just like we did last time. Or at least what I did last time. And spoiler, we don't catch any fish doing this. So this video is going to be more of a showcase on kind of North American style Stillwater fly fishing, which is going to be really cool to kind of see, you know, the two different style of fishing, the more European versus the more North American style of fly fishing. So if you want to see lock style Stillwater fly fishing, go check out the other video. There'll be a link down in the description, and we might have a pop-up right now. When you're back from watching that one and you want to continue here, I'll talk about kind of what the gear I'm using. So same rod, same line, same flies as last time. So it's the Echo Stillwater 10-foot 7-weight, which I adore. It is my favorite Stillwater rod that I've ever used. And still the Airflo 6 cents 2 fast intermediate line. So as you can see, it is flat calm and it is clear water. So this is a week after the last video, so we're still in mid to late springtime, and it ends up being really tough for the first half of the day. We do a lot of hanging our flies, we vary our retrieve, we vary our patterns, countdowns, we try everything. Gabe gets, I think, a take right at the boat on the hang, and I get a follow pretty close. You might be able to see it because I use a polarized lens on my GoPro, which helps a bunch so you guys can actually see what's going on. But nonetheless, luckily, as you can see, the wind starts to pick up here and it finally gets a little bit better. But we end up catching all our fish underneath indicators, which was really fun. When the indicator bite is on, it is a blast, and I highly recommend not leaving your home without indicators and floaty lines when you go on a Stillwater, and balance flies and or chironomids, things like that. I think this is where Gabe gets his follow. You can see the fly put out there as a pop fry. We'll talk about those in a later video, but now it's kind of not really the setting because it doesn't work. It just doesn't end up working in this video, which is unfortunate. So the other setup I have is a new rod that you guys haven't heard me talk about, which is my Redington Vise 9-foot 6-inch 6-weight, and it was my first dedicated indicator rod. So I fished a river before. I fished the Mackenzie River and used a 9-foot 5-weight, and it was a chore fishing the indicators and the heavy flies and split shot and swivels underneath that. So I ended up getting a heavier rod with heavier line that's longer, easier to mend, and it kind of became my first Stillwater rod because it was the longest rod I had at the time. But I came on the boat with 3 rods. The other rod doesn't even get unpacked, so no bother mentioning that. It's the Lago. But with the Redington Vise, I have that one set up with the Scientific Angler textured indicator line. I think it's their Gen 1 textured line. It might be Gen 1, Gen 2 textured line. It ends up actually cutting me or burning my finger with the texture on it. It's one of the big downsides to textured lines, and I end up not using it. So I end up not using other textured lines because of it. I still use that line. The line's still good. I just keep tape in my boat bag, but you can kind of see we re-rigged, put out the drogue, and tried to drift again through the same kind of water we did last time, and it was tough. I mean, we really worked hard on it. At this point, Gabe puts that down and goes to the indicator. While he's setting up, we call it power playing. So while he's setting up, he's not fishing his side of the boat, so I might as well take a couple whacks at it and see if I can't pull a fish out of a zone I normally don't get a fish. So typically when we're in a boat like this, we kind of split the boat down the middle, and he'll get one side and I get the other. And that is kind of the way to to do things, in my opinion, is to have kind of split the boat up. That way you don't tangle. It means you can both cast at the same time, generally speaking. But yeah, we kind of get into it. The next two clips are going to kind of showcase the indicator bite and how well that ends up working. But yeah, we don't catch a single fish pulling flies. So going forward, we'll see the next clips. Alright, so getting back into it, I'm re-rigging now to go do an indicator. The stripping setup was not working, so we gotta go deep for him. We gotta find something else. Gabe is still trying at this point, but I'm re-rigging to go to an indicator, and you can see my Redington Vise there. I told you it's the green rod. Just rigging it all up and putting it all together. I think I have a thin mint on, and oh gosh, I think it ends up being this gold and olive balanced leech that I end up doing with the chartreuse bead. Gold and olive has kind of slowly become my favorite little indicator, balanced leech that I use. Indicators that I'm using here are just round ones. Gabe has given them to me, and I also use some of the, cone-shaped ones. Both work. They're just fine. The cone-shaped ones are more available out and about. The round ones you can buy online, and some more Stillwater dedicated fly shops will have them. And they're kind of nice, because then it doesn't matter which direction you put them on. So right now, I think I have a Chironomid on, and no, I don't have anything on, just to help the rigging. So I'm going through my fly boxes and trying to find which fly I want to put on. So I have some balanced stuff in there. I'm just trying to decide which fly do I use, and you can see this is kind of my working box. This is a box that I don't know what I'm working with. So I guess I'd end up not putting on that leech at this point, but I do put it on later. So this is just kind of my rigging, kind of what I do here. So we'll kind of go from here. I did something funky. Oh, that's a fish. The fish just looked at my fly. I can feel it. He's not moving. Ugh. It feels like a brown tiger. Mad Rainbow.
That's a nice bow. 20. Almost got my stuff on when you play that.
Yeah, I'll tell you when I need a net.
Put on the booger.
I don't know what it's on yet. It's on. God. I think it's on the gold jigger, the olive and chartreuse. God. That's 6 weight too. Alright, you can hand me the net. I think I'll be able to handle it when it comes up.
Yeah, I'm all done.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh. Got you in the knot, dude.
That was brutal, dude. He broke me right at the knot.
Oh, he broke you. Hopefully you got a bunch of jiggers.
Yeah, I'm just loaded with them. I've never heard of this fly until a week ago, and I have loads. No, they just gave me a couple, so... Ooh. We'll see what happens. So let's talk about kind of what did happen here. So I broke off that fish. The fish popped off right at my dropper knot, and you can see right now I'm retying it. I end up retying a uni knot because he broke me off at the dropper knot. So this will, I'll moisten it up, slide it down, and jam it into the other knot, making sure it's well set. So something was wrong with my tippet, which is crazy because I use some pretty strong tippet when I'm out there. I don't use anything less than 3x when I'm targeting larger fish like I am here. Sometimes I'll go down to 4x, but it's usually, oh gosh, I'm usually using 3x across the board, and then sometimes I'll go up to 2 or even 1. Sometimes 0x if I know I'm going to encounter really big fish who are going to plow flies. So if I use anything like big streamers and I'm ripping them back, I might use 2 or 1 or 0x. But generally speaking, in big fish water, I'm using 3x fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon really makes a huge difference. So you can see me, I'm picking out new flies. I'm picking out, let's see, do I end up picking that one? Yeah. So I end up picking out a black and blue kind of balanced leech here, and it has a light pink metallic bead. That's kind of a through line in all my flies. If I can put a light pink metallic bead on it, and it needs a bead, it's getting one. So I tie all my flies on with the Davy knot, which is my preferred knot when it comes to stillwater fishing, or any fishing for that matter. For trout is a Davy knot. And let's see, what does my bottom fly end up being? I think it ends up being that olive balanced leech, which I've already shown a picture of already. So, but after you get re-rigged, it's off we go. I have to repin my indicator kind of up where I have a bobber stop. The bobber stop isn't really to stop the bobber, it's more so to give me a mark on where to peg my indicator at. Because we're fishing at about 10 to 12 feet of water, so. After this, after I get all re-rigged here, we go back to catching more fish. That first fish that I lose, that really kind of took me to the woodshed there, is a kind of a running theme for me. I hook a lot of fish to start off with, but I don't land a lot of fish. So it's kind of the nature of using an indicator, especially that deep. If you think about it, we're only fishing, the GoPro kind of distorts it, but we're only fishing 20 feet from the boat and then another 10 feet down. So we're not that far away, but there's still so much slack in that setup that you have to set the hook so hard to lock into a fish, and then the hook has to really find the sweet spot in the fish's mouth. Some days it happens more often than others. This day, at least for the start of the day, it was pretty tough. It does get a lot easier for me later in the day, but we go a lot shallower, so a lot less slack in the setup. So it's a little bit more productive. But as you can see here, it's a pretty chill way to fish. We end up, you can see half my sandwich up there, you can see my drink. We can kind of just sit in the chair and watch our bobbers kind of go through this drop-off that we're fishing. The drop-off is kind of right where they were sitting and cruising. Who knows if they're eating leeches or minnows or chironomids, but we ended up catching all our fish on leeches. And that's kind of the fun part. Luckily, we had someone there that kind of gave us a pointer when we were there, but we knew him. We had met the other angler at a fly tying show, so it's kind of cool when you meet people like that and then see them on the water. There's a lot of water in the state of Oregon. There's a lot of people that I meet at these shows, so to kind of have that coincide is pretty cool. I first started getting into Stillwater.
They don't work as well as crane, and that's mainly what I fish.
Oh, there we go. Oh, great rainbow.
Strip it in fast.
Keep stripping, don't If you don't have to put on the reel, don't put on the reel. I blame that entirely on... You took the bottom one. You got him? God. Yeah, they are.
I got a barb on this one, I'll be honest.
Oh, so I'm not even going to help you then. You can handle it.
You want to pump this one?
Yes, I do. So I'm going to, once you net them, you got them?
Oh, yeah. Hey, look. It pops out.
Yeah. Ooh. If you have a pump, do you have a bottle or something, a dish?
I do not have a bottle.
Okay. So I end up muting this part so I can talk about a few things. One, Gabe gets a phone call, which is kind of unfortunate, not because he's on the phone with somebody, but because in these lakes now in Oregon, they used to be 0 cell service. You can now get service when you're out in the middle of the lake, so it's kind of nuts. But he gets a phone call here, and I mute it so we don't hear the phone call. Otherwise, I'd probably leave the audio open for this part. We're kind of drifting through the slot, and you'll kind of see their flies are kind of swinging towards the end of the boat. As long as you have a visual on that indicator, you got keep your eye on it. So hopefully here we'll be able to see it kind of go down. I try to zoom in the best I can. So make sure that your quality is up the highest it can be, so you guys can see that indicator pop down. So you can see it ends up not being such a strong take, but a good take. So spoiler alert, Gabe does not land this fish, and the reason why is because he tried to put it on the reel instead of stripping it in. The fish came at him and he couldn't pick up line fast enough. He tried to go back to stripping and it just didn't work. Alright, so Gabe gets another bobber down here. And there we go. So, nature of the beast, kind of just, you lose fish sometimes when it's that deep. But lots more opportunities, like that one, which is awesome. We got a spunky rainbow. Fun fact, the entire day, the only fish we land are rainbows. We catch rainbows all day long, which would make sense. There's 9 times as many rainbows as there are browns and tigers in this lake. So that's what we have a better chance of catching. And these rainbows get big. I think I mentioned in the last video, but these fish eat scuds, a lot of scuds. And so they grow very quickly and very fat. They're all footballs, tiny heads, tiny tails, fat bodies. Gabe starts off netting more fish than I do. I think we end up being even by the end of the day, but he definitely nets more fish early. One thing that I do want to point out is we took a throat sample here, and it is empty virtually, and so that makes a lot of sense for why the fishing was a little tough.
Start at noon and go to
Dinnerish time?
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's fine by me.
And then, you know, if you want to shoot videos or what.
Okay. Feels good? Oh, if only it could be me. Always the bridesmaid.
Yours just went down.
Oh, it did. I was looking at your fish. Oh, mine was still on there. Whew.
That's kind of a fatty, dude. That's a nice one.
That is a really nice one. Do your homework. Throat sample them. He has like no spots. It's like a Canadian fish.
Dang camera up in here. Yours went down too, didn't it?
It did, and I was busy watching you catch your fish, not should be watching mine. Alright, so we moved spots at this point, and it got a lot more productive for me. I think one of the main reasons it got more productive for me is, one, we were shallower. We went from about 12 feet down to about 4 or 5 feet, give or take. And unfortunately, none of the bobber downs are in frame, so no cool zoom-ins for these takes. But I do pick up a handful of rainbows here, which was really fun. The fly that they kept eating was a olive balanced leech. I used gold holographic as an underbody and a pretty sparse body over the top. You can see it right there, top lip, perfect indicator take. And that's probably the smallest fish of the day. So of course, I end up with the smallest fish of the day. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles when you're doing this stuff. You can see my indicator is pretty worn down at this point. It's the paint's chipping off. The peg is almost shoved all the way through it, so it's kind of tough. But one of the things I want to talk about here is some of the stuff that you've probably noticed. One, the wind has picked up significantly, which is really nice. It gives you a nice little what we call bobber chop on the surface. This is barely in frame, so good luck seeing that one. But you can just see in the top, middle right. And Gabe's able to set the hook on that one. He's using a very similar fly to me. I think just a black one with a chartreuse speed, so similar kind of vein. But one of the things you'll notice, you'll probably hear how noisy my line is in the next clip. And you also see the tape on my finger. That's for the same reason. The line I'm using is a textured line from Scientific Angler. It's their first gen textured indicator line. And it's a really good line. It casts, as you can see, this entire setup really, really well. The downside is it's textured, so it burns into your fingers. If a fish takes off or you strip too quickly and you have soft fingers, you can burn right through it. So it's a really... It kind of turned me off of textured line. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's kind of the deal. Long enough to lean over, shake the net water out of the jacket, tuck it in here. No, you're fine. I get it. I probably would have done the same thing to you. Stare at my indicator. Don't need to zip up the jacket, just have it on for a wind protection. I was overextended. I was overextended. Good for the circumstances. Considering. So this kind of started our series of kind of weird hook sets, and so I missed that one while I was putting on my jacket. Gabe is pulling the anchor so we can swing, and then you can see, boom, indicator down, and Gabe sets the hook, and he has zero slack. He's able to put it on the reel and pull in really quickly. He got lucky on that fish, for sure. I did not deserve my jacket fish, and he probably didn't deserve that anchor fish, but he was actually able to make lemons out of lemonade with that one, so pretty cool he was able to do that. But we ended up being pretty productive here in this shallower kind of area. We probably should have come back here sooner, but it's pretty cool to be able to kind of come into shallower water and get a few better hook sets. But he catches some pretty decent fish. I think I end up catching... I kind of said we evened up by the end of the day. I think he ended up catching more fish than me and ended up catching bigger fish than me, so it's kind of tough. This one's a funny fish. I am buckling up right now, and Gabe is holding my rod and sets the hook for me and throws the rod back to me. So it's kind of a mess, but it's a lot of fun to kind of have these moments together while we're on the water. It kind of makes the trips not just we went to a lake and caught fish, but we can go to the lake and have these kind of fun experiences while on the lake. So I really value those kind of like moments like that. We've had other fun, silly moments while fishing, taking wrong turns, driving home, being stuck in rush hour traffic, cooking fish while one of us is peeing. We've had trips where we didn't catch any fish at all, but the afterwards we're able to talk to some people and have a really good time. So you can see me doing something really bad here, which is setting my net down on the rods like that. Not good. You can see this fish is kind of weird. It has a bunch of like lice on it, some kind of parasite. So I try to pick some off of there, off of him, but kind of a weird little thing. But he ended up being a black balanced leech with a chartreuse bead. I think I've shown a picture of that already, but it might be worth seeing again. This lake in particular, chartreuse tends to be the best way to go. You can see I took a pretty pathetic hook set there. I'm lucky I even caught the fish. But the indicator kind of did something funky, and then I kind of did a half hook set on him. So luckily he stayed pinned, but hook sets are free. Don't hesitate to take a hook set on a fish. But this is kind of how I start to catch up with Gabe's in the shallow water. I do a lot better. Don't tell Gabe, because he's definitely watching this. I don't think I'm the reason why something later in the video happens, but maybe my poor net handling was what busted one of his rods. But we don't know. He got that fixed and replaced pretty quickly. It's an Echo rod. If you're looking for awesome customer service, Echo's the way to go. Living here in Oregon and Echo being up in Washington, we can get a new tip or a new rod section within about 36 hours from the point of ordering or faster. It is shocking. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest or basically anywhere west of the Rockies, Echo fly rods are worth not only their weight with their production, but with their customer service. So big fan of them. But thank you for joining me on this video. I'm glad you guys were able to watch it with us. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below or reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. You can also reach me at my website, OregonFlyTying.com, and you can see a full trip report there, or send me a message on there. But again, if you liked it, please subscribe and like the video. It helps let YouTube know that these are videos worth watching. So see you on the next one.